Welcome to Backwater Casting. I'm your host, Rick Greene. On today's show, we're fishing late July on Spednic Lake with my guest, Wendy Nickerson, who's a fellow tournament angler and also a board of director member for the MBSFA. I'm going to do a drop shot. We're coming off a fairly quick break off of those boulders. When it gets out, it drops off. There we go. So this guy was down fairly deep. I'd say I was just off the edge, and I could see what looks like another fish on the sonar. This is not as big as the other one, but still a nice fish. Now compared to how dark the first fish was, this guy's all nicely barred right up. He's got those nice smallmouth stripes on him. They're eating up well. They're way off the spawn. He's got a big belly. I mean, we're third week of July almost. So.
Well, it's a small bass. Probably about the same size as the one that Rick just caught.
In the nursery.
Yep. Oh, he's got a crayfish in there.
There you go.
Just off to the right down there, he's got crayfish in there.
I'll check out his lunch that he left in the boat. Well, Wendy just got that fish on a Ned rig, and it had this in its gullet when she caught it. So I mean, they seem to be feeding pretty good because she's throwing a fairly good-sized bait, I mean, almost 6 inches, between 5 and 6 inches, and it still hit it with this in its throat. So I mean, they're feeding.
The crayfish was a little gross, but that fish just sucked in the bait. Like it wasn't a regular little tap, and then you set the hook. It all just sudden the bait just went super heavy, and when I reeled it up, he unfortunately had it way down his throat.
That looks like a little nicer fish, Wendy.
Yeah, it looks a little bit better.
Net?
Oh no. Right in the top of the mouth.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think I was casting too close to the shore. They're back out a little bit.
Well, see, at this point comes way out here. Like we're only in 6 feet of water to the top of the rocks right here. So a lot of the fish are going to be behind us. And it drops into 12 as the boat swings around.
Not very big, but fun to catch.
We are on a school of 14 inchers. Come on. He says 14 and a half, buddy. 14 and a half. Oh, I felt like he threw something up.
He did.
Oh, yeah, there's a crayfish there, another one over there. Wendy's into one too, so we got a double header going.
No.
Piece of his tail is digested.
So again, right in the top of the face.
Yeah, perfect hook sets. Get rid of him, and here's another one. So they're munching on crayfish, for absolutely for sure. And that dark color on the back, that is their natural color.
Comes right out.
I got another bass, most likely. I actually thought it was snagged for a minute because there's a row of rocks over there, but as I lifted it up, it moved.
I've gone back to the Ned rig just to switch it up, so we're just going to see what they're looking for right now.
Same size, so they're all in that seem to be all in that 14-inch year class. There's one up high under the boat there at about 10 feet probably. So we got a lot of deep water here. I mean, Wendy's just behind me at the back of the boat, and she's very close to shallow water with those big boulders, and I'm in 25 feet out here.
Again, another 14-incher.
Yeah, where are the big ones? I mean, this is nice deep water access to that point. Apparently there's lots of food because we've seen lots of crayfish in the boat.
I was just using those because with the hook coming out the bottom of the mouth, you can't put your thumb in there.
Not safely.
No. So just dumped them off so I don't get a hook in the finger.
He missed it, I would say, the first time. felt like it slid over a rock or went through some grass. It's fighting awful hard for grass. And even though we moved 2 miles, it's about the same size. Probably the same year class, he just maybe ate better. Come back, did he?
Yep.
That'll teach him.
It's the same size though.
They seem to be more plastic oriented than hard bait oriented today.
The bottom of his mouth again. There we go. No fingers lost. Put this on again. I like the Ned rig because I have a lot more control, and you can feel it along the bottom of the water, and it's fun to finesse fish.
I'm just trying to mix it up like Wendy. We're just going to mix it up a little bit and see if we can find out what they'll hit. And I'm throwing a big half-ounce dune spinnerbait. That little point down over there, we're going to go in that cove, but sometimes there's some fish along this edge.
So we're in just about 4.5 feet of water, weed line. So I'm going to try top water and see if they'll hit it.
You get them?
Yep.
Oh, good one too.
Yep. Oh, it's not that big, but
That looked big enough compared to a lot of the other stuff we've seen today. He's under the boat. That's a good fish one.
Oh, he ate that.
Yeah.
All right, now the trick is to get this out of his mouth without getting hooks in my hand. Yeah, I probably need your help.
Here, let me set the net right there. That's a nice one right there. It might be the biggest of the day so far.
Yeah, a little bit of a belly.
Yeah.
All right, time for you to go back. He hit that really hard and swallowed the whole bait. Like, you can see that it's not very big, but he took that down. He wanted it. It was a good fight. He was a good fish.
Welcome back to Backwater Casting. Well, something that comes up once in a while is folks ask me, how do you set your boat up to go fishing for a day? And I will admit it's different whether I'm just going fishing or whether I'm fishing a tournament, because we do it differently in a tournament. So fun fishing, I'm going to start off my day with a topwater. And if you've been watching the show this year, you've seen this crazy critter on, and this one is just a cast and retrieve, makes a lot of commotion on the water. It's great in low light, and the fish will just chase it literally to the boat. If I want something a little more subtle, I would get something like this. It's a little Shimano Whirl Pop Popper, and it's a little more subtle, makes a big noise. You know, if it's crystal clear water and the fish are a bit spooky, that would probably be the better alternative. The next thing I would go to is a jerk bait. The big issue with jerk baits is everybody thinks of this as a cold water bait, early spring, late fall, and these things are good all year long. Again, if you've watched the show, you've seen us catch some big fish right dead in the middle of summer in 80-degree water. So this one is a Shimano jerk bait, and what I like about it, it's a little bit shallower than the re-range that I use most of the time. So in shallow water, the Shimano one is really great, and I get a little bit deeper and I just switch up to that Jackall re-range, and it just gets a wee bit further down. The shallow one is really good in the spring, especially if you're in a current situation, because you can fish into the bank and you can sweep it over, and it's quite shallow and it won't hang up so bad. And the re-range, if you got a couple of more feet under you, it's deadly all year. So another go-to bait is that, and that is just a little tube bait. I fish that, if I'm in less than 8 feet of water, I'm throwing that on a 1/8 ounce head. If I'm any deeper than that, I'll go to a 1/4, and rarely I'll go to a 3/8. I've won a ton of money, like tens of thousands of dollars on that little melon orange tube. I like dark because you're basically fishing them on the bottom, and things on the bottom camouflage into the bottom, so they're dark. They usually have a blacker or dark back and a lighter belly. You're just popping this along on the bottom. It's like a crayfish or a hellgrammite, or some kind of dragonfly larva. So a great bait year round. I love to fish it. That's been in my tackle box for the best part of 20 years, and I still use it every day. Another setup that's really been the rage the last bunch of years is a drop shot rig. So what this is, you've got a sinker on the bottom and you have a bait tied up the line. So when you've got this sitting on the bottom, you keep tension on it and your bait is up there. So these are great if you're drift fishing, just enough weight to maintain bottom contact when you're drift fishing. I like to be a little more aggressive with it. I'll sometimes fish even a 5.5 inch Senko on it, wacky rigged, and I'll cast this thing. I use a 1/2 ounce, you can cast that a 1/2 mile, and I'll work that offshore and I'll work it right down the break, and I maintain bottom contact all the way down, and you just feel that pressure bite when that fish picks it up, and you can cover a lot of water with it, but a great versatile bait all around. And in tournaments, typically I'm fishing on the back of the boat in the tournaments. I watch the graph all the time. That Lowrance is always on, and I've seen fish under the boat as we've gone over it. I can drop this right on him immediately, and the bass is a reaction fish. He's either going to eat it or run. And you drop that right on their head, and most of the time they eat it, and we've caught some dandy fish right off the back of the boat from watching the sonar all the time. I would be remiss not to talk about my spinnerbait. This is a great bait for covering water. Get on a windy flat, even a shallow windy flat, the smallmouth will come up on that and feed even in the middle of the afternoon. The surface is broken up by the ripple caused by the wind move in the water. And I like a 1/2 ounce. This is a Jackall Dune. I add a trailer hook. If you've watched the show, you've heard me talk about trailer hooks all the time. I add a trailer hook to all my spinner baits. Ironically, it's one of the few baits that I throw on a bait caster. I fish 99% of my time with a spinning rod, but there's nothing like throwing that big spinner bait on a bait caster, and I think it's just because of the weight. I find the 1/2 ounce just overwhelms a spinning rod most of the time. Last but not least is a crankbait. Now, I like this one. It's a World Crank for Shimano. It'll dive 10 to 12 feet. My big issue with the deeper diving crankbaits like that is that big lip. Typically, it's a real bear to throw after a while because it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the rod. These don't for some reason. That'll get down there in that 10 and 12 foot range, and it doesn't have that heavy drag that some of them do. So you don't mind throwing it. If you're on a real good crankbait bite, you don't mind throwing that all day. And I like to get out off a break, maybe off a deep weed line, anything 8 feet or more, and just throw that thing parallel to the weed line and out, and just let it dig around on the bottom. If it's a 10, 12 footer, anything over 8 feet, it digs and deflects on the bottom. And it's a great bait for covering water. We've used that with some success in the upper St. John River, the lower river, Spednic. A couple of times we've had a ball just throwing these crankbaits out there along the rock ledges and stuff. So that's how I set my boat up in the morning for most of the time fishing. You can adjust the colors depending on the water conditions and such, but the basic premise is to cover the different water columns, and you can fish that with crankbaits, spinnerbaits, like I say, the tube to crawl on the bottom, especially with the crayfish, just awesome baits, and it's just a nice basic setup to get your day started.
Oh, he's throwing up a bunch of crayfish too, boys. They're on like a lobster feed for bass. There you go.
It was a jumper.
Some come up.
Yeah, it's small though. Like probably the smallest one of the day.
Bigger than what I got on.
Are the pliers handy? There you go.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's a monster, Wendy. You're in trouble now. You are in trouble now.
Oh boy.
Yeah, get the net now. So he had the trailer hook in his mouth, which I just popped out, and he's got the main hook just under his chin. So he actually ended up getting them both. God bless him. You need a net, Wendy? That's all right. Come behind you. And that might not be a bad idea. See him. There. We'll get a bigger one.
Just finally, a fish.
Yeah. Way over on the other side, both hits, Wendy.
Okay.
That's a bass. That might even be a largemouth. Maybe might. Yeah, no, it's a largemouth. Yeah, a couple and a quarter pounds. Got a boo-boo on his lip there. Something's happened to him before. Anyway, a change up.
So I've switched it up to a spinnerbait, just like Rick is doing. He's graciously loaned me one to give it a try and see if I can get some bites as well too. Looks pretty good. He did a show jumping out of the water there, so.
Fish.
Yeah. Woo!
Oh, there's two of them. There's another one.
Not ready to come in yet.
No, he says, I'm not coming. There he
Oh,
is.
there we go.
Doing spinnerbait. Try not to deform the bait too much. Yeah, we'll get your picture. You go that way so the sun will be on you.
Oh, they got some.
Oh yeah,
big bellies
they're
on them.
well off spawn.
All right.
See if I get this one to the boat.
Oh. Do you want the net?
No. Yeah, he says, I'm big. He said, I'm not coming in there. Come on, we'll show you the trait. Oh, he is good, isn't he, Wendy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Boys, yeah, he's not going to let me flip him, boys. I'll let you grab him. Yeah, he's not letting me flip him. I tried to pull him in twice and he just turned the other way.
All right. That's a picture fish.
Yeah. Oh, that's bigger than I thought he was, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Little jackall spinnerbait. So he's got, what's he got? He's got the main hook just in the corner of his mouth, and he's got the trailer hook right under his chin. So.
All right, that's a really nice fish. Let's take a picture.
That's a good fish.
This is a good fish. I need the net. He's got a lot more weight to him.
There you go. That's a good one. Yeah. That's what we've been looking for all day. Another picture of that one too.
Oh, jeez.
That's the same size, I think, as that other one that got off on you a minute ago.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this one's got a little bit more weight to him. A little bit more than 1.5.
Yep. Novelty for us today.
Yes. He's 2. We'll give him 2.
He might be a little more than that. There you go, Wendy. That's a good fish. Looking for those all day.
Yeah. Pretty good. That was much better. A lot more weight behind him. A little bit more fun to catch. A little bit more of a struggle. So hopefully we'll get a few more.
It is a smallmouth. He thinks he's 4 pounds, but he is not. He has a boo-boo. He's been caught before. Come on, maybe get you off of there just nice and easy and friendly like. Yeah, somebody's caught him before. Got a little nick in the corner there. Crazy little guys.
Welcome back to Backwater Casting. Well, so far we've had a great day. The fishing's been really good. The wind's picked up. We're moving on to a shallow flat.
So I just retied the Ned rig. All day we've been running through rocks, so every once in a while is a good idea to retie because your line can get nicked as you go through the terrain underneath the water and you don't know. Well, I just tossed it back in and we'll try that spot again and see if there's more.
Sometimes there are. It looks like a half decent smallmouth. I got this guy in a tube. So I got him on a tube. I don't know if that's the one that missed my spinnerbait or if that was just a random cast that landed on one. Come on. There you go, big boy. There you go. Oh, up you come. Big belly, holy smokes. Eating good. Whew. She is eating good.
I have no idea. I can't see him yet.
You
I don't
try
think
and
it's.
hold the boat so it can't blow back on you.
I don't think it's very big, but still fun to catch. It's okay.
That flash just comes scooting across and grab it. Shows you if you keep the boat a little bit still, you can see them. There's not the big one that Wendy had on. He thinks he's big. He does not want to come up here. They are so tenacious. Come on. There you go. A little wee drop shot fish. You know, little wees, £1.5 or £1.75, big bellied. I saw that guy in the active target. I could see my drop shot out ahead, and I lifted it up, and I just saw this white streak go across, and the rod buckled over. It's kind of neat.
Oh, geez, he doesn't want to come into the
Yeah,
boat.
if you want a net, I'll try and keep the boat from blowing back on you. Yeah, nice chunky fish too, Wendy. That's another decent one.
Yeah.
Big bellies.
Oh, he ate this one. I'm going to need your help.
Okay.
I thought he might have.
Oh, I just missed another one. So there's a few fish in this cut. I just missed.
He sucked that down.
Yep. Well, what I was doing with that fish that Wendy just had, it took a Ned rig fairly deep in his throat. So what you do is you go in under the gill plate and grab that lead head on the jig, and you pull it down, and it rotates the hook inside the fish's gullet. So you take that round bend and you just give, sometimes it'll just pop up from the jig head, or you just get a hold of that round bend with a pair of pliers and pop it out. I got a half decent one on a spinnerbait. Yeah, he looked bigger when he was jumping, but I'll take him. I haven't had a bite for a while. Yeah, no, he's nowhere near as big as he looked when he was jumping. Holy smokes. Come here, you. Oh, he's fat. He's got some weight. He's fat. Okay, try again. Up. He's actually not bad. He's got a lot of heft to him. There we go. I guess he wants to get back in that water. That last one I had on the spinnerbait, he hit that with authority when he come up. Like always, he looked bigger than he was, but he was still really chunky when he came in, eating very well. A high protein crayfish diet. Wendy, thanks so much for coming out with us
Thank
today.
you.
It's always a blast.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always fun fishing with you and Rob both. We just left Rob home today, so some people have to work, and Rob's working today. So we're out in beautiful Spednic Lake today. It's hot, hot, hot. The bass, we're not sure what was going on. We caught a fair number of fish. We could not find the big ones except for 3 or 4. Some of them came off, but it's a beautiful lake. The water's 77 degrees, which is crazy. But it's a fun lake to fish. New Brunswick is a beautiful province, and we enjoyed a big piece of it today.